Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Transcend, and today we are back in Monster Energy Supercross, the Game 5, going over the Houston 2023 replica track made by Kellen, and we are going to be trying to see if we can match the lap time of Eli Tomac, who was the main event winner this past weekend here at the Houston Supercross round in 2023, and his lap time, which I will show on the screen, was a 52.308, and this was not the fastest of the day. I did see that they were actually running in the 50s during practice, but for the sake of the video, we are going to be doing this fastest lap time in the main event, since we're doing a 20-minute moto here on the replica track. And once again, a fair warning, just as I told you in the last episode of Am I Faster Than the Pros, the AI in this game are extremely tanky. They do not move, and sometimes they go fast, sometimes they go extremely slow, especially in these custom tracks. They are just super ambiguous. You never know what they're going to do. Some sections they go fifth gear wide open faster than your bike can go, and in other sections and straightaways, for some reason, they like to slam on the brakes. So you will notice in this video, honestly, I think more than the last video from Anaheim 2, they are a obstacle by far, and going off the track as well, as you can see there. Going off the track in this game on the custom tracks is one of the main issues. It's almost like there's magnets on the side of the track where you feel like you just are getting pulled off the track constantly. So over this triple, especially when I'm trying to scrub cancel it, which if you are unaware of some of the advanced movements, I guess I can explain them to you. Scrub canceling on this game is one of the key mechanics that a lot of the top players use. And so what you'll do is you will do like you're going to do a regular scrub, but instead of doing it later so that you actually see the full scrub motion on like the rider, where you're like your bike goes sideways and you got to bring it back and all that. And it ends up being more of a hassle than doing the scrub cancel, which in the scrub cancel, you scrub earlier, like toward the base of the face, and you still get the lower air time of a scrub, but you don't get as much of the movement. You'll see it's kind of like a little flick. Like he'll go sideways, but he won't go, like he'll go sideways leaning, but he won't go sideways in the air like he's whipping. And that is a scrub cancel. And then another one of the advanced mechanics is a scrub turn, which is basically the same thing. When you're going through a corner, you turn you flick rather the right stick, the rider leaning stick, in the opposite direction of the corner. And that kind of tricks the game into thinking you're doing a scrub. And so the guy leans super far, and it actually makes it so that you can turn a little bit sharper. So for some of you guys that might be unfamiliar with some of those advanced mechanics, those are key to setting some fast lap times. So that's definitely one of the key components to doing tracks like this and like berms like this that are really fun to do it and corner scrub and scrub cancel on the jumps. So that is what we're doing here. We're trying to set a 52.3, and as you can see, we're at a 56.3, which is pretty solid on this track. There's not too much more room for improvement, but we do end up getting a better time, a little lower time here later in the race after we get some clear track. Going for the quad there. The quad in the game is, I hesitate to say, a lot harder than it was in real life. It seemed like the 450 guys were making it no problem, but in this game, it was practically impossible. I would imagine someone like Axis or maybe Kimson and Weedy could probably hit it with their perfect scrub canceling wheelie craziness that they do, and that is why they are the fastest guys in the world. But for me, your average Joe that got lucky and qualified for the finals in ESX, we are sticking to the basics and figuring out what we can do, just going triple double through that section. And we're already 5 minutes in, getting into lappers, and so let's go ahead and start talking about my fantasy picks for Houston this year. I'll throw them up on the screen. It was the first round of the East Coast, which is always interesting when you swap coasts. Sometimes it surprises me some years, like I won't be expecting it. And it was even earlier this year. Usually they feel like we got a couple more rounds most years before we switch over to the East Coast from West, but it might feel that way since Oakland got canceled or delayed, postponed, whatever, that, maybe we had one less extra round. It feels really soon in the year to be switching over to East Coast already. Nonetheless, it was interesting. You had Hunter Lawrence dominating. You had Max Anstey, who honestly I wasn't expecting it. He came out in practice as one of the fastest qualifiers, and I was completely baffled. He's been fast for a long time, obviously. He was racing in GPs for many, many years, and he was a top guy over there. But since he came back, he just hasn't really, he hasn't been that guy. You're not that guy, pal. But this year, Max Anstey appears to be that guy, although there was some protesting. Apparently, they were protesting. They thought that he was on a 270 instead of a 250, so maybe a little extra modded out bike. I'm not sure. I didn't know if that was speculation or if it ended up being true. But either way, exceptional ride by him. And in third place, you had Jordan Smith, who I was watching some of his practice videos on socials and stuff before East Coast started. And I got to admit, that man looks extremely fast on the Yamaha, just as you'll see most riders do when they transfer over to Star Yamaha. It's almost like it's like the bike has something that just unlocks that next level, and it seems like everybody that goes over to that Yamaha 250 just steps it up. As we saw once again with Eli Tomac on the 450 class, he had a rough go of it in the heat race, got passed and left by Chase Sexton. I was a doubter myself. I really thought that Chase Sexton was going to come out and dominate in the main, and he just couldn't. He couldn't get around Eli. Eli just matched his pace and stepped up and did what it takes, and that is why he dominated everything last year. And that's why, I'm curious. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Chase Sexton is going to clutch up and win this title this year, or will Eli Tomac get his second consecutive title and end his career out on top? I am curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. In second place, we had yet again Chase Sexton. He came off that win last week at A2, feeling good from the Triple Crown. But again, Eli Tomac was just too solid this week. He could not seal the deal. And then you had Jason Anderson finally up to third. I was really expecting more out of him this year so far. I was thinking he was going to be more in the title hunt. So hopefully El Hombre can keep it together, keep moving in the right direction rather, and keep battling with these guys. I know that he has the pace. He's had the pace in the past, so I'm really hoping he can continue to step it up and kind of get his foot in the door with Sexton and Tomac and start matching their pace and being up there battling with him. I'd love to see that happen for Jason. Now, to go over my PulpMX fantasy picks for this previous weekend in Houston, I had Chance Hymas, Luke Neese, Henry Miller, and Max Anstey in the 250 class. Now, Chance Hymas I chose because, well, it was either him or Hayden Deegan. They were the top rookies. They were the most promising. They qualified, I think, 7th and 8th, respectively. And, man, to be honest with you, after that Futures race last weekend for Deegan, I really thought he was going to make a mistake and fumble the bag. And, boy, was I wrong. Deegan really pulled through, ended up with a 4th overall. He kind of lucked out at the end, but still, even if it was a 5th, solid race, incredibly good for his opening round. That's almost unheard of. That's extremely good for someone's opening round. But Hymas as well, extremely impressive. He looked super good in the whoops. Not quite as good as Tomac in this video game, wheeling through the whoops in 5th gear. However, he did look extremely solid. Hymas ended up 8th place in the main event in Houston, which is, again, an extremely respectable finish for a rookie in his first race ever, basically, in the pro class. Or not basically, ever, period. First race ever in the pro class. So 8th place, very, very good. Right behind Tom Vial, who is a 2-time champion over in MotoGP in the 250 class. So, man, he's up there with some heavy hitters, battling with Mosman, Martin, Deegan Smith, Anstey Lawrence. He looked right up there. So I'm hoping Chance Hymas can put it all together. And honestly, I think he could get a podium by the end of the season if he keeps it together and continues building, because he has been nothing but solid, and that is why I chose to pick him for my fantasy picks. And I mean, he ended up getting me 36 points, which was second most points of any of my riders that I picked. I think Justin Cooper in the 450 class ended up getting me the most, but man, I missed out on the Deegan pick. I think the Deegan pick was like 50-something points, so man, what a surprise. The shock and awe, but also to his loyal fans, I'm sure they were like, yeah, I told you so. But hey, it is what it is. Now I know. We'll see if he can keep the consistency up. Bravo to Hayden Deegan. He absolutely killed it. On my second pick, I had Luke Neese. Now, my Luke Neese pick was mainly just based off of looking at qualifying times, seeing who had the highest handicap, and that was really it. I picked Luke Neese as a filler. I'm not super familiar with Luke Neese. Maybe I should be now. He seemed to have done pretty good in the main event. He ended up 20th. So, I mean, he made the main and got it done, got top 20. So, solid race for him. And my next pick was Henry Miller. Again, same with Benny Bloss, like I was saying last year. I grew up racing Henry Miller. He's been a long-time competitor, and Henry's fast. Henry is that guy that whenever you race him, you kind of know he's not going to do you dirty, but, man, he races, and he's aggressive. So Henry Miller, great racer. He ended up with a solid finish as well. He got 13th. I'm not sure what his best finish is in his career in Supercross, but I think that's got to be up there. As obviously I'm a Henry Miller fan because I grew up with him and I'm wanting the best for him, but man, I think he could top 10, potentially, top 5 if everything goes his way, but I would for sure expect a top 10 from Henry sometime in this season. Next, I had Max Anstey, and Max Anstey was the all-star pick that I had for my fantasy picks. And it all came down to qualifying. He was the top qualifier in the 250 class. And I had, some of my friends were telling me, they thought that maybe he was going to fumble it and crash or just, not put it all together in the main. But, man, I've never seen Max Anstey look so good. He's always kind of that guy that, he's there and he's fast, but he's never been that guy. He's never been super fast and always on top of the box, especially in Supercross. So it was cool to see. I hope Max Anstey continues to keep up the pace and battle up front. Hopefully he can, put a wheel in on Hunter Lawrence and make something happen and get some wins. So that would be super cool to see. But those were my picks in the 250 class. Ended up with 120 points total in the 250 class, which wasn't super great, but it wasn't the worst either. So some solid picks there. And now moving over to the 450 class, which I will again throw up on the screen here for you. I had Jason Anderson, El Hombre, my boy Josh Cartwright, LCQ winner, let's go baby. Joey Versace Savachi, hoping to see some more arm swag out of that guy. And Justin Cooper making his 450 debut, killing it out there. These guys, I felt good about these picks. I was hoping Anderson might, again, like I said earlier, I want Anderson to get a win. I think he's got it in him, and that was the reason that I picked him as my all-star at Houston. But no such luck. However, he did end up on the podium, which is awesome. More steps in the right direction. I'm hoping he keeps up that momentum moving forward. For Josh Cartwright, the man has not missed a main this year. He's on fire. He's killing it, working his full-time job, his IT job. A fellow nerd out here killing it, doing it big at Supercross, going to each and every event. And like I said, he has not missed a main event this year. I got some flack for my Josh Cartwright pick as well. And look, a fellow Texan, you believe in him. That's all I got to say. You believe in your fellow Texans, especially when you've known them a long time. Josh Cartwright, one of the best dudes I know, super solid guy, and man, he is working. He's working a 9-to-5, and he's working his butt off to make sure that he is there each and every weekend, doing the best he can. So big props to Josh. Absolutely killed it. You love to see it. Now, for next up, you've got Joey Savachi, who came in 9th, which is, in retrospect, not all that great. However, it's a top 10. He's on his own program this year. And the big thing is AC on that factory. Cowie ended up 10th behind him. So, I mean, if you're factory Cowie, you got to be feeling some type of way. And I'm not taking anything away from AC. I'm a big AC fan. Always have been for a long time. Kind of AC was the generation above me growing up in amateur racing. So I've always looked up to AC. He's the foot on top of the shroud guy. You know, he always will be for me. And I hate to see all of his injuries. I hope that he can get it back together and get back up to where I think everyone wants him to be. But man, right now Joey Savacci seems to be putting in the work, flowing with the Cowie. And man, Joey Savacci's making moves. Coming up in 9th, beating the fellow Cowie on the factory Cowie. Gotta raise some eyebrows. So hopefully Savacci can keep it up. Again, I'm hoping to see some more arm swag. Joey, come on, man. Throw some arm swag in there. Trust me, even if you don't look cool, you'll be cool. Next up, we had Justin Cooper. Justin Cooper is a fellow longtime Mad Skills motocross player. Respect to Justin Cooper. Much loved by all the guys at Turborilla and the Mad Skills community. J Coop 32, I believe, is his Mad Skills name. Dude is an absolute slayer, both on the bike and off the bike. On the bike virtually, I guess you could say. His 450 debut, I'm not sure what everyone was expecting, but man, coming out swinging with a 7th place. Ended up right in between Justin Barsha and Ken Roxon, which are some heavy hitters. I expect Justin Cooper to go nowhere but up. The man has remarkable talent on a dirt bike, almost as much as he does on the phone and Mad Skills, maybe even more, depending on who you ask. The man he's just killing it. He is absolutely killing it. You can tell he's been putting in the work, making sure that he's comfortable on the 450. And honestly, I think the 450 fits Justin's style really well. He's always been that kind of laid-back, smoother, calmer rider. And I think for that style mixed with the 450, it is going to gel. So it was unfortunate to see Ferrandis out with an injury. Hopefully he's all right. It looked like a neck injury. So all the best wishes for Ferrandis and his family. Hopefully they're doing okay. Hopefully he's got a quick recovery because, man, Ferrandis is another one that I was really hoping to see up toward the top. But luckily Justin Cooper is there to fill in for now. So hopefully Ferrandis can come back quickly. But that was my picks for the 450 class. We had a total of 138 points in the 450 class, which honestly I think was pretty solid. 258 round points total for Pulp MX Fantasy. Again, not the best, but I think a little bit above average, honestly. So I think we're moving in the right direction with our fantasy picks here. Hopefully we can keep up the momentum myself. And maybe at the end of the year, maybe we can end up winning some prizes. You never know. If you guys play in Pulp MX Fantasy, let me know. Let me know what your picks were this past weekend in Houston. Let me know what your picks are for next weekend. What is it, Tampa? Let me know what your picks are for Tampa. How are you feeling? Are you thinking that if you didn't pick Hayden Deegan, are you going to pick Hayden Deegan this time after that 4th place? Or are you thinking, no, next weekend, this was a fluke. Next weekend, he's fumbling. Watch. You never know. So let me know your picks. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support in this video. Be sure, if you enjoyed it and want some more of it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Tons of Monster Energy Supercross the game, brought to you by Goon Squad Racing. Will be coming up later in this year. As soon as Supercross the Game 6 comes out, we'll have some league racing. Might even do some streams on here. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll play it by ear. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. And yeah, this fast lap here should be coming up. I've got, I believe I ran a 56 flat, so there it is. Boom. 56 flat. That is the best it's going to get. We'll wrap up the race. Just a quick 2 minutes and 45 seconds ahead of Jason Anderson. We end up lapping him one more time before the checkered flag. And yeah, solid race. Excellent track built by Kellen yet again. Excellent replica. So, and if you didn't happen to notice, I do have Eli Tomac's gear that he wore actually at Houston Supercross. The guy, Pay 2021 Mods, he's got a Facebook page. He's got a Patreon. He is absolutely killing it, keeping up week to week. He released the gear sets for Jet Lawrence's Antisocial Social Club. As you can see, Sexton's blue Alpine Star gear right there. I mean, he is updating it week to week for Monster Energy Supercross the game. So if you like the mods and you want to see more of them, be sure to check out Pay 2021 Mods. Dude is grinding. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. We're going to round out this last lap here and finish out the video. Thank you so much again. Be sure to stop by next week for the Tampa breakdown and the fantasy picks. Participate in the PulpMX Fantasy. Share your picks with me, and we will compare. Once again, I am Transcend, and we'll see you in the next one.